Now that our cluster is up and the project structure is in place, it's time to bring the app to life. This is where things get real. In part 3 of our Kubernetes Hands-On series, we're going to show you how to configure the app files, build your Docker images, and load them directly into the Kind cluster. It's the critical step where containers actually start running and your environment becomes truly functional. If you're just tuning in, we recommend watching parts 1 and 2 first. That's where we set the stage for everything we're doing here. But if your setup is ready, our multi-cloud, DevOps, and AI expert Herbert Pereira is jumping back in to get this app up and running. Let's go. It's time to make it real inside Kubernetes.
Hello, and welcome to part 3 of this exciting special series on Kubernetes Ingress with Kind. Now, we're going to configure the application files, do the build, and then load these images into Kind. So our next step will be to configure the application files. We already have the entire folder and file structure ready. Let's start by populating the home index file right now. So, let's copy the application code and paste it in. Just think, you, as a skilled DevOps engineer, have received the complete application files and have been given the important task of deploying these components. Then, you take the application files and begin carefully populating them. The index file is now ready, serving as the main home page of our application. Next, let's take the files from the product page and fully populate the corresponding index file. So let's follow the same exact process with the checkout component. Let's go ahead and get the checkout code here. Now go to the checkout folder, open the index file, and carefully add all the necessary code. Good. We now have all the application component index files fully and properly set up. Our next steps are to build and properly package these images so they can run smoothly and efficiently inside containers. To successfully accomplish this, it requires a special file called a Docker file, which is specifically used to build the images. That's why inside each folder of each component, we created a dedicated Docker file containing all the detailed necessary instructions for the complete image build creation process. For this example, we're using exactly the same code for all Docker files because it's just a simple example application. But you need to keep in mind the importance of the Docker file with all the necessary instructions for building the image. So, all our application components are going to use Nginx with the lightweight and efficient Alpine version. What is it going to do? It's the process of copying the HTML index file, right? Each individual component has its own index file, and the process will copy it to the Nginx default folder, then expose it on port 80. This will serve as the main port for internal communication, since access will be routed through the Ingress controller. So we'll need to populate all these Docker files with exactly the same standardized content, ensuring complete consistency, and this way we already have everything we need for the entire image build process. Now, I'm going to close all the files we've already completed so far, and then move on to the image build process from the terminal. Let's access the applications folder now, and let's start building directly from the home folder component first. So I need to be inside the folder where I have the Docker file to be able to run the docker build command, passing the context where the Docker file is located. So this Docker command will build these images and then tag this image with the latest version label. I'm calling it home app latest, and this dot is simply used to indicate that my Docker file is located inside the current working folder. It starts the process of creating the necessary images. If we run the Docker image command, we can clearly see that an app latest image has been successfully created. In the same way, we need to repeat these exact same steps both inside the products folder and also inside our checkout folder. So basically, it's the same process, but this time I'll tag it with the name products app, as you can clearly see. Once the base image had already been downloaded, the process is faster. Since the base image is available locally, there's no need to download it again. Now let's go inside the checkout folder where I have my dedicated Docker file, and let's proceed step by step with the complete build process. And now, if we run the Docker image command, we'll clearly see that images have been successfully created for the home, product, and checkout microservices components. Once we have these images ready, we need to load them into our local Kind cluster for deployment and testing. I'm going to bring up here the level of where we are and clearly explain what happens next. If we list everything using the docker ps command to view our containers here, we can easily see a container that actually represents our node, right? This is our main Kubernetes control plane component. Let's check now by executing an interactive docker exec command in this container on this specific node to see if we already have the home app image available in the system. You'll notice that it won't return anything precisely because we haven't yet loaded this image into the cluster. And how can we do this? We can easily achieve this through the kind load docker image command. With this command, I'm going to load this image directly into my local cluster environment simply by running this single command in the terminal. And if I run the command again to list it, you'll see that there's actually an image present now in the node, right? The image of the main page, the home application page loaded inside the cluster. So let's go ahead and do the same exact thing for the product image and also for the checkout image. Now let's run the command for the checkout image. Okay, and if we now try to list all the available images, I'm going to remove this filter so we can clearly see that we have all the images, both the checkout, the home, and the product microservices fully included in our setup. So that concludes part 3. And in part 4, what are we going to do? We'll focus on the creation and deployment of the manifests, the Kubernetes YAML files, so that they can deploy the replicas, the pods, and everything else needed for our go live. In other words, we'll upload the application there with Ingress configured and test external access thoroughly. See you.
All right, thank you so much for watching this video. And then if you enjoyed this content, please consider subscribing to our channel. Give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed this content, and then also please leave us a comment telling us what you think about this video and also the things that you'd like to see in a new video here on our channel, okay? And then if you're interested in mastering multi-cloud DevOps and AI with our help, please check the links in the description as well. Hope to see you in the next video. Take care and goodbye for now.